So it is finally Halloween night. Technically, it's not Halloween night right now. It's past Halloween night, but you get the gist. And I've been wanting to do this video, so I figure I might as well do it since it's appropriate for the time that it is. And it's my favorite horror movies, scary movies, creepy movies, Halloween themed styled movies for the Halloween season. Um, Yeah, so for me, I love the horror film genre, but it's not for the scares because I don't get scared from a horror movie. No movies really scare me because I know it's a movie. I know there's people behind the camera. I know there's a script. I know there's actors. So it doesn't really scare me. But what I look for is just a good movie, a good story, a well-made quality film. And the horror movies that have that, I love that. I really do because I love the story of horror and the outlines of a horror movie and the way it's filmed and things like that. I love it for the quality of film that it is if it's a good movie. Now, with this list, um, I have mostly old movies in here. I mean, the newest movies around on this list is from like 2004, 2005 because I think the horror film genre is totally dead. You know, I just do not like new horror movies. I think it's done with. Even horror movies that people say, "Oh, this is a good new one. This is old school. This is actually a good horror movie." I don't like them. I mean, it's all the same shit. There's a couple. They move into a new house. Life is grand for them, and then they start having weird shit happen to them in this new house. It's always a stupid fucking house movie all the time. And you would think that one couple for all these movies would just decide to move just once. Maybe when there's weird shit happening in your new house, move out of your new house. It's as simple as that. When the clock keeps on stopping at 3:15, when you keep on hearing voices at nighttime, when doors keep on opening and shutting, I think it's time to move. It's that simple. And that's how every horror movie is. It's this stupid couple doing this, and then you have some stupid backstory revealed where, the house was owned by a witch from the Salem witch trials or something, and then her daughter took over the house, and the daughter committed herself, and all this shit that you keep on getting. It's all unoriginal. Just the same conventions over and over again. Just boring, bland, uncreative, no creativity, no originality, no innovation. And that's why I do not like new horror movies. So I like these old ones. But yeah, so let me go to this list. Now I left out some movies that I love. To me, what really started American horror is the monster movies from Universal, like Phantom of the Opera, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula. But to me, those are more fun movies rather than these type of movies which are creepy and send a chill down your spine or are good for the Halloween season. Even though those movies are great, especially like Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein. But anyway, let's kick it off. The first movie I have on here is Repulsion. 1960 something. It's in the 1960s. It was Roman Polanski's first English speaking movie. And this isn't a horror movie in the basic conventional sense. It's more of a psychologically disturbing movie, which is just as horror as horror. When you take it to questions of psychology, that's pretty scary and pretty disturbing and pretty creepy. I'm not going to spoil these movies, so I'm just going to give the basic plot. Basically, a girl who was sexually abused as a child, this repressed, social outcast, socially awkward girl who's deathly afraid of men. She lives with her sister. Her sister goes on a vacation for 2 weeks, and this girl has to be in an apartment by herself for 2 weeks. She's never been alone, and her mentality, her sanity starts to break down more and more in this apartment. She becomes insane and more insane and more insane. She starts imagining that there's cracks appearing in the walls, that there's hands coming out the walls, reaching out onto her, groping her. She has these hallucinations that a man is coming, breaking into her house at night and raping her. And to me, this is just the greatest movie of mental breakdown of a person becoming insane, losing their sanity, the digression of one's mental being. This is the movie, and it is very creepy, and there's genuine scary parts here. There is, even though this isn't really a horror movie. It's just the atmosphere and the creepiness and the paranoia, and it really gets you to the mindset of this girl who is just losing it, who is hallucinating. This one freaky scene where she's looking in the mirror and a man appears behind the mirror out of nowhere. It gives you a jump, and this is a fantastic movie. Not very well known. Go watch it. Next, Eyes Without a Face, and I included this movie because has one of the most gory scenes ever, if not the most goriest scene ever. All I'll say is it involves a doctor cutting off and taking off the face of another woman, and it shows it all. It is gory in 2013. I can't imagine how fucking frightening it was for audiences in 1960. That's when this movie came out. Like Repulsion, this isn't a conventional, basic horror movie. It's more of a thriller, this one, but it has gore in it. That's why I included it on this list. And it has a great story. This girl is in a car crash. The doctor's daughter is in a car crash. And her face is crucially disfigured. She has to walk around with a plastic white featureless mask, which is creepy as hell enough. And it's... the doctor tries to... he kills these women victims. And he tries to perform surgery, tries to take off these victims' face and put it on his daughter so his daughter could look beautiful again, so his daughter could have a face again. And it's a very poetic movie too. It's a great film. The actress who plays the daughter is just great because she's this poor, innocent, just tortured soul behind this mask. She just wants to be free, but she's locked up in her father's house. Everybody thinks she's dead, and she just wants to escape. And it's a fantastic film. So there you go. Next up is The Innocents. For me, a very important thing for horror movies is creating an atmosphere, creating a mood, and this film does it arguably the best. The mood, the atmosphere is creepy as hell. There's no violence. There's no gore or anything. It's just the atmosphere of the movie, the cinematography, the mood that makes it creepy. The story is a woman is hired to take care of two orphan kids on their estate. And once she meets the kids, goes to the estate, she realizes there's something wrong with the kids. They're acting way too mature, and there's something wrong with where they live. And what's happening is that two people who lived on the estate, lovers who had died, they're trying to possess the kids' souls. They're trying to live on through the souls of the children, and she has to save the children. And it's just very creepy, this movie. It has the creepiest scene to me is the boy who's being possessed. When he's being possessed by the guy, he makes out with the woman who's there to take care of him. You have a 10-year-old making out with a 40-year-old. And the kid actor, one of the greatest child actors I've ever seen, if not the greatest. He was just fantastic. You actually believe that he was a mature man inside a little boy's body. And yeah, just a fantastic film. Really sets a mood, really sets an atmosphere, a creepy atmosphere, and it gets you involved in the world of the movie. Next up is Rosemary's Baby. 1968, the second Roman Polanski movie on this list. Rosemary's Baby is a popular one. A very famous movie. Basic story is a couple moves into the Dakota Building in New York City, and their neighbors come over, maybe a little bit too much, and she starts to think there's some sinister plot going on. She has a nightmare that she's raped by the devil, by Satan himself. And then, of course, she realizes after the nightmare that she is pregnant, and she starts to fear, is she carrying the devil's child inside her? And, she starts to get worried. and she starts to go to investigate on these neighbors that keep on coming to her and giving her this type of herb, and she doesn't know what type of this herb is, and are they Satan worshippers and all this, and a very paranoid movie and claustrophobic with it being in the apartment, and everybody is out to get you. Fantastic movie, and just pushing the boundaries of film in the 1960s, seriously showing her getting raped by the devil. It's not suggested, it is shown. But a fantastic movie, fantastic all the way up to the end. Yeah. Next up is Deep Red, and I just saw this one last night. Dario Argento. It's an Italian horror film. Very gory, scary, and like I said, I don't get scared, but there were moments in this movie that were scary, gory, scary, complex, and intricately woven plot, and it's got a whodunit aspect. I mean, this movie is great, just a fantastic film. A pianist in Rome, I believe, sees a murder in an apartment building, and he goes to find out who it was that did this murder, because the murderer is now trying to kill him, and it leads him to this story with a house where there was a murder that occurred in a house, and it haunted the house ever since. There was a child's voice could be heard during the murder, and I don't want to go into it because it is a very intricately woven type of plot that goes a bunch of different ways and has twists and turns. So if I go into it, it's going to reveal some stuff, but it's a frightening film at points. The one weak thing is the soundtrack. It has this kind of eccentric soundtrack for what it is. It has like a 70s rock jazz soundtrack, which takes away from some of the frightening scenes. It takes you out of the atmosphere, takes you out of the zone. But this has one scene where I genuinely did get kind of fucking frightened, scared. There's the killers, surrounding this guy in his house, and the guy pulls out a knife, and he doesn't know where the killer is, and then the door opens, and you're expecting, either the killer to come out or nothing to come, just the door opening. Instead, you get a 3-foot porcelain doll in a tuxedo walking like it's a human being up to the guy. And it is just so frightening. It just catches you off guard. Literally, I jumped. And it wasn't a jump scare. That's what was great about it. But yeah, great film. And it's got a good story to go with it. Next up is Psycho. Now, here's where some of the movies are going to get to famous pop culture, a huge part of pop culture movies, where it's like they're so famous and they're so overdone that they kind of lose their effect, but they're still great fucking movies. Now, Psycho has been so overdone, so reused, parodied, made fun of. I mean, I saw a commercial the other day for macadamia nuts that featured the shower scene in Psycho. The theme, the din din, has been reused, redone, and made fun of so many times. But still, you cannot take it away from this movie and the movies like it. Fantastic movie. Really started off the slasher genre. 1960. I mean, just broke new ground, killing off your main character within 45 minutes of the movie. It's got a great plot, a great twist ending, which is spoiled. It's like the Darth Vader being Luke's father thing, where it's just ingrained in pop culture. But if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it. And just great music, great direction from Alfred Hitchcock, great atmosphere, great acting. You can't take away from the greatness that Psycho was, and it just influenced a lot of movies later on. It sure did, and Psycho is still fantastic, great movie to watch, during Halloween season, and kicked off the slasher genre. So next up is The Exorcist. This is another movie where it's such a part of pop culture that it's you feel like the quality of it, the originality of it is lessened, is somewhat deteriorated, or has gone away because of how many things have stolen from it. But like I said, that doesn't take away from the originals. The Exorcist started that whole thing with devil possessing a child movie, those type of movies, exorcism movies, demon possession movies, and this is just a fantastic movie for its time and a fantastic movie today. Everybody knows the plot. The demon takes over a little girl's body and they call a priest to do the exorcism. Just great special effects, a chilling movie. I mean, when they re-released the movie and the scene where she walks on all fours backwards, I was fucking frightened from that, walking home at nighttime. It was scary. But that movie, just scary, creepy, gory. It really, really paved the way and influenced and set the foundation for a lot of future movies similar to it. Next up is The Omen, which like I said, after The Exorcist, another movie about possession of a child, or the devil being inside a child. But what's great about this one, The Omen is a great movie because it starts off with this happy couple. They have their son, the father adopted it, but the mother thinks it's her actual child. And it starts out, they're adorable, cute little child, and the father just moved to Britain with his family, and they have this beautiful estate. They're celebrating little Damien's birthday. They're having the time of their life. Everything is great. Then the nanny goes to the roof of the house, and she says, has a noose around her neck, and says, "Look at me, Damien, it's all for you," and jumps off and hangs herself in front of all the screaming kids at the birthday party, and it all goes on from there. And I love this movie because it's that question. And Rosemary's Baby had the same question of, what if you were the mother of blank? Like Rosemary's Baby, what if you were the mother of the devil's child? Same as this. What if you were the mother of Satan's spawn? They had a Twilight Zone episode in the new one of the newer Twilight Zone series, where nanny goes back in time or something. This girl goes back in time and she gets a nanny job to watch over little Adolf Hitler, and she can't bring herself to kill him because it's a child. It's not who they are yet. That's what they'll be, but it's still the child, and that's why I love that question of, what if you were the mother of this thing, this being who's going to cause chaos? How do you deal with that? Don't you still have a motherly, feeling towards it? And that's what's great about this. And also, what I like about it is that Damien, he doesn't realize who he is. It's not his fault. All the things that are going on, it's because of, the devil worshippers, watching over him. It's the forces of evil, fate. He's not causing the evil himself knowingly. It's just that he's got the bad luck of being Satan's child. That's, and that's what makes it great. That's what sets it apart. From that, there's the evil kid who's, that's wishing death on people, little kid. But here, it's Satan's child, but he doesn't know it yet. He's just trying to be a little kid. And that's what makes this movie great. Also very gory, and it has a decapitation. So if you're into that stuff, you'll like that. Next up, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was the beginning of the 70s slasher teenager movies that are low budget. And to me, that's what makes these movies so great. These low budget movies is that it's not Hollywood. It's not, all these special effects, all this, money going into it, where they only care about the profit and these big name actors and this, overdone story. It's just a low budget movie. Just guys, filmmakers, inexperienced actors who are getting together to do what they love, and that is make movies. You don't need the $300 million budget to make a great movie, and Texas Chainsaw proved that. It's famous as hell. I'm sure everybody has seen it. Leatherface, that scene when the guy runs into the house and then Leatherface appears there. hits him over the head with the hammer or whatever, drags his body in, shuts the metal door. Fucking frightening, scary, bone chilling, spine tingling. I mean, you can't pull that off. You know, I don't care if you how many millions of dollars you have. That you can't make it better. I mean, just a great movie, and it really got that ball rolling with the teenager slasher 70s genre. Fantastic movie because it feels real. Like if I ever went to Texas, I could that's how I envision it being. There's a bunch of weird fucking families. You go into this into the woods or whatever, and there's the house that's isolated from everywhere, and it's just these weird fucking cannibalistic cult families doing this weird shit. All these teenagers out on a road trip to have fun, and this is where they wind up. Pretty fucking scary. Next, you get Nightmare on Elm Street. One of my great horror characters of all time, Freddy Krueger. What makes this movie great is the story. This has a great story to it, just very original, not the typical, a guy's killing somebody. It's a guy who kills you in your sleep. How fucking cool is that? When you go to sleep, you're in his world. And if he kills you in his world, you die in real life. And it's just a great movie. I mean, the scene where the blonde girl is... Freddy kills her in the dream, and then you see the claw marks happen on her body, on her stomach, and it just... The lacerations and the blood starts spilling out. She gets thrown against the wall, and her boyfriend's screaming. Oh, man, one of the greatest scenes of all time. Horror movie-wise. Fantastic film. Next up is Saw, and this is the newest movie I have here, Saw. Started off the torture porn genre, but this is the one that did it best. Because it had an artistic vision to it. It had a story, a good, original, fun story, great story. Jigsaw. He sets these people up in these game of life and death situations where they have to go through obstacles, and if they fail the obstacle, they die. If they succeed, they have to go through pain in order to do it. They have to actually want to live and be determined to live in order to overcome these games, because their bodies will be dismembered. They'll be destroyed mentally, psychologically. Their psyche will be forever destroyed. It is just a fantastic film. Sure, yeah, you got like the 8 fucking sequels afterwards, and they totally destroyed it. Just got stupid and tried to do more and more games. It became like kind of a circus, kind of just too cliche. It desensitized you, when you're watching the 7th movie and they're trying to come up with more and more elaborate style of games. What made the first one is that, this was the first of them. And the ending was just so fucking great. Everybody's seen this movie, but I won't say in case you haven't. But even to this day, when you see the twist ending, it just sends chills down your spine. Great movie. Next, The Shining. The Shining is one of the greatest movies of all time. Not even just one of the greatest horror films of all time. Stanley Kubrick, man. My favorite director. Just a genius. And he was a genius because nobody understood him during his time. So many of his movies were panned critically, got a bunch of negative reviews, and now they're known as the greatest movies of all time. And that's how it is with a lot of these horror movies, like Texas Chainsaw critics hated that movie. Same with even Psycho. I mean, could you imagine people saying that they hate Psycho now? You don't say that. It's a great film. Psycho, one of the greatest films of all time. Back in its day, people didn't like it. People thought Hitchcock, threw up a bomb. That's how these guys are ahead of their time. And The Shining is no different. Stephen King hated The Shining. He hated it. Hated enough to poorly remake it in the 90s as a TV special. But he's come around and realized how good. He now says he likes The Shining. And that's what's great about Kubrick, is with more and more viewings, you appreciate him more and more. The Shining, Jack Nicholson at his finest. Overacting for the best. I mean, just the visuals of this movie. The sense of claustrophobia. the breakdown of mental psyche, just fantastic. Um, Jack Nicholson gets a job to look over the Overlook Hotel with his family during the off season while nobody's there, while it's vacant, and it's this huge place, but there's a huge snowstorm and they're trapped in, and it just, you know, becomes smaller and smaller for Jack Nicholson, and this huge place turns into a sense of a claustrophobic space, and Jack Nicholson has a son, and the son has a type of ESP where he could communicate with the dead and spirits, and the spirits of the hotel, which has a pretty horrid, cruel history, starts to come alive, and they start to possess Jack Nicholson. Or is Jack Nicholson one of the spirits? One of the previous spirits? Is this a tale of reincarnation? Or is this a tale of possession? That's one of the great questions of The Shining. And just great visuals from the twins, when the little boy sees the twins and they're all, you know, they approach him and they say, "Come play with us, Donnie." So fucking scary. And then they do a quick flash of the twins axe to death on the floor, blood everywhere, blood rushing. And, oh man, just a great film, just visually. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? There's just a quick cut scene of this guy in a bear suit giving head to another man. It's like, what am I watching? That's what makes The Shining so great. And last but not least, there's greater films on here than this one. I didn't have this list in any particular order, but this next one is my favorite horror film of all time. Not the best movie of these of all time. I think The Shining is a better movie than this one. I think Psycho is a better movie than this one. But when it's Halloween, when I watch a horror movie, I want to watch Halloween. Michael Myers, John Carpenter's Halloween. Just a perfect horror movie. You know, low budget, shot in a short number of days, an inexperienced cast, the soundtrack, you know, the story, the character, the story behind the movie. You know, it's just, you can't match it. If you want, for the basis of a horror movie, this is perfect in every aspect. And it all starts with the character of Michael Myers. And what makes Michael Myers the best horror character of all time is that he is just some guy. He's just some dude. That's all he is. He's not, you know, a 7'5", 325-pound linebacker with, you know, a bunch of scars on his face, long hair, looks like, you know, he's from the wilderness. Like, you know, the Rob Zombie movies try to make it look like. He's just this guy trying to kill Jamie Lee Curtis. You know, and they tried to, in years after this movie, delve into the character of Michael Myers way too much. I don't care. No, we don't want the backstory of Michael Myers. The unknown is what is scary, not the known. I don't need to see little Michael Myers with long hair being bullied while, you know, Love Hurts is playing on the soundtrack. I don't need that. That's stupid. That's horrible. I don't need Michael Myers to be 7 foot tall. I don't need him to lift cars, to be, you know, supernaturally strong. Because that's when I know I'm watching a movie. Bullshit. But when it's just some guy with a featureless white mask, that's when it's scary. Because that could be real. That could be the guy you see on the street. The guy you see on the street could be Michael Myers. Michael Myers is just the guy who escaped from a mental asylum, who is just the embodiment of evil. That's all he is. He has no emotion, no soul, no heart. Like Dr. Loomis says, he has lifeless black eyes, looking forward to this day when he would kill again. All his character is the actual embodiment of evil. And the embodiment of evil is just a regular guy. That's what makes it scary. And, you know, no matter how many times they have done this movie over, parodied it, remade it, you know, that Busta Rhymes appearing in Halloween movies, Rob Zombie remaking. When you go back to it, I don't give a damn. It's a fantastic film. And they cannot take away the greatness, no matter how many times they try to ruin it. this is what a horror movie should look like. This is a original, creative, artistic horror movie, not done to make a profit, not done for big studio execs, but done for the love of making movies. And that's what makes Halloween my favorite horror film of all time. There's my list. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your favorite horror movies. Hopefully I convinced some of you to see these movies. If you haven't seen them, definitely go check them out. Let's talk about horror movies. What are your favorite? What are your favorite new horror movies? What do you think I should check out? There's some of these movies that I haven't mentioned on this list. Yeah, let me know what's going on. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Jay Shady, the voice of reason. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later.